Peace, love, and elevation. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about knowing when to slow down. So it is easy to recognize when you have already pushed yourself too far. You are sick, exhausted, explode too easily, or just feel miserable. More difficult, recognizing that you are beginning to overdo it, catching yourself before stress catches you. There are early warning signs that life is becoming too stressful for your own capacities to adapt to pressure. But we often ignore the signals. Reason, the work ethic tells us to work hard and not pamper ourselves. Instead of heeding the inner voice when it says too much, we answer back, I can handle anything. The common early warning signals of impeding stress. Any major change in your desire for food, sleep, sex, or social interaction. Sometimes outside events lead you to modify habits. However, when you desire change and you don't know why, your body is trying to tell you something. This does not refer to minor alterations. Something is wrong, though. If you suddenly crave to sleep half the day, can't sleep, lose your desire for sex, can't stand to be alone, or want to be alone all the time. So what to do? When you notice such a change, don't panic. Keep track of your patterns for a while before taking action. Your behavior may correct itself, and if it doesn't, get medical help or other professional counseling. Doubting yourself. When you have been competent for some time in an area and then suddenly you lose your sense of sureness, check your stress level. The mind and emotions play funny tricks. They can make you feel generally inadequate so that you want to give up or try something entirely new. But all you may really need to do is consider your priorities and learn effective methods for managing the stress. Strong emotions without apparent cause. Everyone is unhappy for some reason at times. However, when you feel depressed, angry, or irritable, and nothing in particular has occurred, your emotions are telling you that you are under more stress than you know how to handle comfortably. Increased use of alcohol or drugs, a significantly increased use of these substances indicates that you are using them to forget about stress for a while. This is generally a bad idea. Many find it difficult to avoid escalating alcohol and drug use as the stressful conditions continue. High blood pressure. Although high blood pressure is related to poor diet, lack of exercise, and heredity, it is also strongly related to emotions. If you often are upset about things, feel out of control, constantly need to adjust to changes at work or at home, and live in crowded conditions in a bustling city, you are more likely to develop this disease. It can lead to heart attacks and other life-threatening conditions. Since it can be symptomless, many people in stress-prone positions now take their pressures regularly. Headaches, backaches, poor digestion, all of these things involve tightening some part of yourself in response to pressures. Your body is signaling that you are storing the tensions you experience and creating additional wear and tear on your human machinery. Repeated constantly, these tensions undermine your health by disrupting the internal balance of your complex interlocking system. General fatigue. If you seem to be getting enough sleep and are still fatigued, you may have been pushing yourself for so long that you have undermined your resistance and resilience. Under stress, the body first copes with excessive commitments by putting out more adrenaline. If you continue to overdo it, you are likely to collapse. But pay attention. It takes far longer time to recover from stress-induced exhaustion and disease than it takes to actually collapse. Many stress-related illnesses, heart attacks, strokes, etc., can be killers. If you survive such an illness, you will be forced to change your habits. Better modify your lifestyle while you are healthy. Now, here's a burnout quiz that we can reflect on and ask ourselves. And the answers to these things are a strong affirmation or a strong yes, yes, no, and a strong no. So, for the burnout quiz, here are the series of questions. Are you fatigued throughout the day? Do you speak up less often in business meetings than you previously did? Are you forgetting things more frequently? Are you tired even after a good night's rest? Does your mind always seem in full gear? Do you seem further behind at the end of the day than when you started? Are you less patient with others? Do you spend less time on hobbies? Are accomplishments seldom pleasing to you? Do you constantly operate at full speed during waking hours? So, based on your answers to these questions, just so you know, you score 10 points if the answer is a strong yes, 7 points if the answer is a yes, 3 points if the answer is a no, and no points if the answer is a strong no. So based on your answers and the scores of those answers to these questions, here's the evaluation. So once you answer these questions and you score your answers, if you score 0 to 15 points, that indicates that you are either totally inactive or have your act together. 16 to 50 shows that you are unlikely to suffer from burnout. 51 to 80 indicates that you are on thin ice. Burnout could be close. And 86 to 100 means that you are a walking time bomb. And from that point, it is definitely something for us to be mindful of and catch ourselves, because we don't even know that we're off the deep end until we're already falling, right? But we've been given the signs, and imagine driving down the road and you see the street signs, hey, detour ahead, hey, right lane is closed, or the right lane will be closing soon, etc. And then we just keep on keeping on. And then we might come across some debris or a gigantic pothole, or even a cliff, just for example purposes, right? So with that being said, we've been given the warning signs. The GPS might say, hey, traffic up ahead, do you want to reroute? We just keep on going. And our bodies and our minds are very intelligent, right? We have been very intelligently made, and our inner workings even surpass our own human-like understanding, right? So with that being said, if we just take the time to listen, because we're always communicating with ourselves, we're always giving ourselves, those signals. It's up to us to take heed to them. A lot of times we don't realize that we're off the deep end until, one may be facing the consequences of their actions. And it's like, wow, I didn't realize I had an anger problem until it started to affect my relationships. And that was reflecting to me, It's easy to, again, externalize those things and project onto others what it is that's actually going on within us. And we just have to be careful about that, because sometimes it's not the other person. Sometimes the other person is just a reflection, a mirror, or a response to how we are showing up. And it takes introspection. It takes self-awareness and self-accountability and responsibility to be able to sense that, see that, and correct that. But it also takes a strong sense of self, or at least a willingness, right, to want to be your best self and unlock those higher qualities and rid yourself of those burdens, impediments, and barriers that may be getting in the way of fully embracing that at times, right? So some people may go to therapy, do meditative practices, get deeper into prayer, and into their spiritual hygiene and things of that nature, because these things help invoke us, our spirit, right? And it also cultivates and nurtures the energy and the mindset that we hold within us, right? That is tailored to our righteousness, also tailored to the right thing, right? So when we are connected to right thinking and right being and right doing, these other things tend to autocorrect itself. But in order for that to happen, we have to know when to slow down. We have to know when to catch ourselves. We have to know when to breathe. We have to know when, all right, it's me this time, right? We have to be able to know those things, right? But the signs are always there. All we got to do is just slow down long enough to actually see them, right? Be quiet long enough to actually listen, right? Be still long enough to actually feel, right? And so take the time, do that self-analysis, check in with yourself once a day, once a week, whatever works for you, for real. So that's what it's really about. Just knowing when to slow down, knowing when to look into these things, because we see it in others, right? We can see the signs in others when they're stressed out. We can see when they're getting pushed to that point. And sometimes, depending on our intentions and our relations with this person, we might be the final person to really push them over the edge, or we try to, work around that and find ways to alleviate some of that stress and then bring them back down, or quote unquote pull them away from that edge, right? And so we can do the same thing for ourselves as well, right? We just have to love and care for ourselves with the same intention, because usually we give ourselves more to other things and people and places outside of us, and we tend to give ourselves to scraps, if anything at all. And that's no longer a surviving framework for life, for business endeavors, for just anything that can be, beneficial and productive and constructive, for ourselves and everyone involved, right? So, being of service is good, being selfless is good, but never sacrifice the best qualities of yourself, and never sacrifice what actually, the regimens that you may partake in for you to be that, right? Again, make sure that it's constructive, right? We don't want to rely on substances that we won't always have access to, and also that requires us to exchange hard-earned resources to acquire, right? I'm working a job and I'm making X amount of money per hour. If I spend X amount of money, how many hours did I just spend in this course of 5 minutes? And then did I spend it on anything that is actually of use? Did I spend it on anything that'll last? Did I spend it on anything that's geared towards longevity, right? Did I invest that money into anything that I can build upon on a future date, right? Will this purchase benefit my future self? Or is it allowing me to enable escapism? Am I literally just burning this money away? These are just questions that we have to ask ourselves, because a lot of us are disciplined in certain areas, and that discipline doesn't carry over in other areas that it needs to. So take the time, sit with yourself, ask yourself those burnout questions, right? Rate it on a scale, of 10 points being a strong yes, 7 being a yes, 3 being a no, and 0 points being a strong no, right? And depending on the range of where your score is, that'll let you know where you are with yourself and with your stress levels and how close you are to being on the verge of burnout and or crash out, quote unquote, right? Where people just explode, you know? So, and we don't ever want to get to that point, and we shouldn't allow other things to have the power to pull us to that point, right? You know, it's really about self-control, self-mastery, and obedience, right? To the Most High, to our higher selves. You know, or at least that's what I believe. But on that note, family, I just want to say peace, love, and elevation. And may you continue to do things that elevate yourself, your soul, your consciousness, and your spirit. Continue to rise above limitations and go for your goals with no hesitation. Peace.